Leave no one behind, better production, better nutrition, better environment, and a better life. That is this year's World Food Day theme. Each year, the world commemorates the World Food Day to promote worldwide awareness and action for those who suffer from hunger and for the need to ensure food security, better agricultural production, nutrients for diets for all. And so this year's theme is focusing on looking at how the world is going to achieve the 4 betters of the World Food Program. So we are saying better production, better nutrition, better environment, and a better life. Today, we're having a group of youths. These are fully involved in the food value chain, and they are working towards building sustainable food systems across the African continent. Welcome aboard. My name is Charles Masereka. I'm the host of today's event. And about me, I'm a farmer. I'm also a certified knowledge management for agriculture. A certified knowledge manager for agriculture development, having undergone this course for a period of 3 months. Professionally, I'm a banker and serving as an accountant. So welcome aboard Kofi, Benja, Francis, and all our panelists for today. I'm going to invite each one of us to introduce themselves and then tell us about what they do and their organizations, so we can get to understand very well exactly what you're doing in the food value chain and building of sustainable food systems around Africa. I'll start with Paul Zake.
Thank you so much, Charles. My name is Paul Zake, and I am the Managing Director for AgriShare Uganda. So AgriShare, we are an agricultural company, and of course providing an online marketplace for sharing agricultural machinery, equipment, and as well services. So we do this on an innovative way. That's AgriShare app, the web portal, agents, and customer center, and the services we provide the farmers can get through AgriShare include land, tractors, irrigation pumps, farm workers, processing equipment, and trucks. And we currently operate in Uganda, Malawi, and Zimbabwe. Pleasure meeting with you. And hi, this is going to be wonderful sharing with you. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Paul. You forgotten that you're actually the country director for YPAD Uganda. But let me tell Africa that you are the country director for YPAD Uganda, and you're doing a tremendous job. Yeah, we don't have one yet, but you're doing a tremendous job, Paul. Well done, and keep it up. So AgriShare is what Paul is managing. A lot about AgriShare, because it's actually simplifying the farming of smallholder farmers, especially whose finances are not that adequate to purchase the required tools for agriculture. So land is expensive, the tools, the machinery is also expensive, but now AgriShare is making it easy for everyone to be able to practice agriculture by just hiring the tools that they need to use for farming. Thank you so much, Paul. I'll proceed to Victoria Bigide. You're welcome, Vicky. Victoria, you can unmute. You're on mute right now.
Okay. Okay. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's afternoon in Uganda. I'm Victoria Mbigide. I work with the National Agricultural Research Organization as the Knowledge Management Officer. NARO, we are mandated to conduct agricultural research. In Uganda, we also coordinate and oversee all aspects of agriculture. And here we have aspects of crops, livestock, fisheries, forestry, agro-machinery, natural resources, and social economics all included in there. So we are responsible for the livelihoods of Ugandans, if I may say, because you find that most of the cassava varieties or the cassava consumed in Uganda are the beans, the maize, are all products of NARO. So yes, I'm so excited to be here and to contribute to this cause. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Vicky. Glad to hear from you and all that you're doing at NARO. It's a good thing that you're doing. Research is very important in the growth of the agriculture sector because we need the latest findings and all the information that is needed for our people to do whatever they have to do with facts. Thank you so much. I'll proceed to Simon Peter Okech. Simon Peter, you can unmute, please.
Thank you, Charles. Good afternoon, everyone. I just need feedback from you. I don't know if you are getting me.
Yes, we can hear you well, Simon.
Yes, I am sorry. My background may not be very clear. I am right now in the field, and maybe you can see I am dressed for the field. So, and my network connection may not be the best. I am Simon Peter Okoth. I am a field coordinator for Tree Adoption Uganda. That means I am from Uganda. And Tree Adoption is a youth-centric NGO that is powered by the vision of creating communities where people and nature flourish. And our major work is around climate action. We do landscape restoration activities like tree planting and agroforestry. And right now I'm in the field doing tree planting with farmers in Soroti in Eastern Uganda. But we also don't just plant these trees. We make sure we provide accountability for these trees and transparency. So when we plant them, we also track them, we map them. We use mobile phone technology so that we do not give wrong information. You know very well about people who do tree planting and they report wrong numbers. I always say wrong numbers. They plant maybe 1,000 and they report that they have planted 100,000. So we are saying, if you have planted 1,000, where is the data, right? Plant 100,000 and provide us with the data. We track the GPS coordinate of each tree, the date of planting, the species, and the name of the person on whose land we have planted. Yes, briefly, that's about our tree planting. But also we do plant only indigenous trees because we are restoring. The other work that we do is environmental education in schools through schools environmental clubs. And then we also do waste management, especially in low-income areas. So we encourage people to use waste to make their lives better, improve their livelihoods and household income. Briefly, that's about us and the work that we do. Thank you.
Right, thank you so much, Simon. You realize that there's a huge relationship between the environment and then agriculture. So Simon is here to discuss for us what is that relationship and then break it down for everyone to understand why we need to conserve the environment, because in the long run impacts on our food systems. Thank you so much. I'll proceed to Jean-Claude Nyomugabo from Rwanda. So you can introduce yourself and tell us about what you do. Welcome aboard, Jean-Claude. Okay, as we wait for Jean-Claude, we can have Paul Atsu also introducing himself.
Hello, I believe everybody can hear me. Unfortunately, I cannot share the video because of my current location as well. But then I hope that everybody can hear me. So
Yes,
my
we
name is
can.
so my name is Paul Achu. I'm a certified knowledge manager, and currently I'm a WUS volunteer that is working with PDA, Participatory Development Associate, as a knowledge management and then communication advisor within that space. So for me, it's very important that we all gather here today to be able to share knowledge as we continue to share within the agri-food system as well. So that's basically what I just want to share as an introduction. And I'm a YPAD member as well. I'm a YPAD member as well. Can you hear me? Thank you very much.
Hello.
Yes, John, we can hear you, John.
Hi. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, Jean-Claude, we can hear you.
Yeah, yes. I get the challenge of internet connection, but maybe we can, I can catch up with the conversation. Hello?
Yes, John.
Yeah. Maybe
Yes,
you can tell me.
Jean, you can proceed. You can proceed. Tell us about yourself and your organization and what you're doing in the food systems.
Oh, yeah, thank you so much. My name is Jean-Claude Niyomugabo, and I'm based in Rwanda. I'm the co-founder and the CEO of Spec Farms, and Spec Farms is an agri-tech company which connects farmers to the market as well as extension and financial advisory services. So what we do basically is to connect the rural farmers who lack access to the market, where we connected them with the market by the ways of provision with the premium price for their produce. So after that, what we do is to provide the trainings to those farmers so that they can grow the crops with high quality. And we provide some advisory services in terms of financial advice, where we train the farmers how they can use their small runs to get the maximum production. For example, if there is a farmer who are doing subsistence farming, what we do is to teach them how they can turn those small lands into profitable businesses by growing the crops which have high demand on the market. And we do that by using the digital technologies, where we have website and social media, where we basically post the techniques and everything that's related to agriculture, as well as promotion of their produce. For example, if there is a farmers who have the onions and they need the market, what we do is to post those produce to our website as well as the social media, so that if the consumers are interested, they can call us, and if they can provide the premium price, we will try to connect that farmers with the market. So it's a pleasure to be here and to hear from the people who are in this meeting. And sorry for being late. It was the problem of internet connection, but maybe we shall keep it up. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Jean-Paul. Jean-Claude, sorry, from Rwanda. We really appreciate what Spec Agri-Farms is doing. There's a lot that you people are doing that is bringing the farmer close to the market, and indeed it's making it easy for everyone to access the market that they need. on the call, we're glad to have Honorable Victoria Sechtoreko. You're welcome, Honorable. And thank you for joining this conversation of the young people that are
My pleasure.
doing all they can to shape the food systems of Africa. You're so much welcome. So we proceed to our conversation. Thank you to the panelists for all the introductions. So we are moving now. I have my first question that is going to Jean-Claude from Rwanda. You see, young people always move with what we call the trend. And presently, we realize that what is trending in the world all over is social media. Jean-Claude, you've talked of having social media as part of the ways you are doing the marketing with Africa-WFD initiatives. How best can we use social media to influence youth involvement in agriculture and agribusiness?
Yeah, thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I think that in these times, the social media have been one of the best tools that many people can use, especially when it comes to agriculture. It is where the people can use to advertise their produce. It is where they can use to share the content and the techniques that can help the farmers to maximize the production. And when it comes to doing a business or anything that's related to the doing business, it is where you can find young people. So I think on my side, since I started using social media, it has impacted myself in terms of networking, where I network with different people, different key partners in agriculture, where I got an opportunity to meet with key influential people in agriculture space. And when it comes to business space, it is where our business has been growing using social media. For example, sometimes we post what other people are doing in agriculture. And if there is someone who is interested in doing that, he or she can contact us and we can, work together with him or her, and he can venture for the first time in agriculture. So it is where you can do this kind of a business. And as you know, many farmers in Rwanda, in Africa, most of them are old and they didn't use social media. So when we say about the young people, the only place where you can find the young people is through social media. And it is where you can find people who are exchanging the idea and information. When it comes to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn, it is where many young people are trying to use these kind of tools to connect, to network, and to share different content. So when young people are trying to explore the opportunity, they try to find the opportunities which are not difficult. For example, by doing blogging, by being content creators. But agriculture also cannot lag behind when it comes to leveraging and using social media, because many young people can promote agriculture produce, can sell their produce using social media. They can also work with other key partners when it comes to doing something that can help us to impact themselves. So I think nowadays many people can try to see what social media can offer to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jean, for that elaborate discussion. Truly speaking, social media is now the thing to go, because everything is now moving through the internet, and social media has become one of the ways through which people can easily connect. So thank you so much for that. let's proceed to Victoria Bigide. So, you know, knowledge is one of the things that is now helping grow the sector, the agriculture sector, and management of this knowledge is very important so that it's not misused and it's used in the best way possible. So what we need to understand how best can we manage the knowledge that is available in the market and in the sector so that it can achieve the ultimate goal for which it is meant for. This is for Victoria.
Thank you so much, Charles. Like I mentioned in my introduction, I work with the National Agriculture Research Organization, and our mandate is to basically generate or conduct research. And in the process of conducting research, like you rightly put it, a lot of knowledge is generated. If I put it in context now of narrow, we develop a lot of knowledge, and if we are to make sure a lot of it is put in use, one of the issues we need to prioritize is to make sure that this knowledge is available to the youth and also accessible. How do we make that happen? In recent times, most of our youth, the biggest percentage are tech savvy, and most of them are always online. They are eager to find information, eager to find knowledge. They are inquisitive, want to learn. And currently in Uganda, the mobile penetration and use stands at 8 million. In 2022, it was at 8 million. What does that mean? It means that we have to think critically and think smart on how to make this knowledge we have more accessible to the youth. How do we, for example, digitize? Do we want to consider digitizing most of the information such that, or the knowledge such that it is readily available? Do we want to think of use of mobile application? How do we want to package the knowledge we have such that the youth are able to access the information easily, but also able to use it? We have to put in context the two issues. What content? Think of the content we are putting across, but also think of the user. Is it user friendly? Are they able to make good use of it? How do we want to package it? Do we want to think of more audio visual multimedia ways such that this knowledge is out there and easy to use, but also appealing to the youth? We are looking. We may consider things like storytelling, having the content or the knowledge more open access, and have less embargoes put on the knowledge, such that when the youth access the knowledge, they don't have to go through so many checks, again, because this can lessen their interest. We want to have them more interested in agriculture. In Narrow, the technologies we develop, for example, the cassava varieties, the maize varieties, the bean varieties, we make sure that they are climate smart, such that when the youth, for example, take them on, adopt them, start planting them, they are able to get the high yields. Make sure that the technologies are resistant to pests and diseases, such that the youth or the users are able to get to maximize the yields they get. So basically, I think we need to think of how we present the knowledge out there and the kind of knowledge we present to the youth to make sure that they adopt the knowledge we have available, the technologies, and are able to transform their lives such that they are not left behind in the long run. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Victoria, for enlightening us about the knowledge and then knowledge management. So still with you, with all the research that is being done with NARO, I believe there is a lot that has been achieved. But what has been the impact of the research findings on the agriculture sector?
Okay, thank you so much, Charles. Allow me inform our audience that overall, over the years, NARO has been able to generate up to 798 technologies, innovations, as well as management practices. And among these, we have 559, which are crops. They are resistant to pests and diseases. They are addressing pests and diseases, but also addressing issues of low productivity. I'm getting a bit of feedback. Okay, may I proceed?
Yes, you can proceed, Vicky.
Okay, thank you very much. So you were asking about the impact of the technologies of the research NARO has done, and I was taking you through a brief of what NARO has done over time. You know, in the different areas. In crops, over 559 technologies have been developed. 83 under livestock, 65 technologies, innovations, and management practices. In fisheries and aquaculture, in forestry, in agromachinery, and natural resources management. Here we also look at climate change and sustainable land management, as well as value addition. So the impact, if you're to assess the impact of these technologies, it goes a long way. Out of every 98% of the different agricultural related products and products in Uganda are directly linked to research, or they are research products. Really, they are outcomes of research. So we in NARO or in Uganda, you may find that most of the foods consumed, so issues of food security, nutrition, and related aspects, they are all benefits of research. So that is how far the impact of research goes as far as leaving no one behind is concerned, addressing issues of food security, productivity, climate smart, and related aspects. I submit.
Okay, thank you so much, Victoria. I'm looking at the figure you've just given us, the 559 technologies and innovations that have been developed by NARO. So that's a big milestone. Indeed, food security is something that is coming up, and NARO is doing a great job when it comes to research. Jean-Paul, are you now okay? We thank you, Victoria. Jean-Paul, are you now fine with the network? Okay, I think we shall get back to Jean-Paul when he stabilizes with his network. So talking about agriculture innovations and invasions by the young people, This is to Paul Zake. Paul Zake is the managing director of AgriShare Uganda. How is the future of agriculture in your eyes with the various innovations that the young people are coming up with to strengthen Africa's food systems?
Thank you so much, Charles. The future, actually, I believe the future is optimistic. To those ones who just started it later, I'm Paul Zake, and managing director for AgriShare Uganda. Elaborating on that, I would say what is the current status currently before looking into the future. The current status as of 2022, we have 1.4 billion people in Africa. 60% of these are younger people. But there are majorly also 3 core challenges which are related to agriculture: high food insecurity, increasing food losses and wastages, high environmental degradation. All these are challenges which are happening. And how is the future appearing? In the future, for example, if we take a future of 2050, by 2050, we shall have a population of 2.5 billion people. And still, above 50% of these will be younger people. So you see that the younger people in the present, they are the majority, but also in the future, they are the majority. But in the present, we have the challenges. And the younger people are to the core to solve these challenges, to see that we see a better future. And the better future, including all this, of course, increase the food security. And when farmers are happy, we can look at some of the innovations which are trying to address this, contributing to food security. Of course, there is the AgriShare. AgriShare, we're doing it. That's on Uganda, Malawi, Zimbabwe. We already know how tractors are doing it in Kenya, Nigeria. We already know via tractor doing it in Zimbabwe. We know Isaac doing it in Uganda, and the many other innovations. All these innovations are run and operated and funded by younger people, which means these younger people are helping to solve the current challenges and to see that we have a better future. Then also another second challenge, which was on food losses, we see many innovations which are now contributing to adding value, but as well addressing the logistic challenges. Look at the innovation like Vendis by younger people in Nigeria, already solving many millions challenges for millions and millions of farmers, but as well millions and millions of customers in Nigeria. Of course, there are also other innovations which are trying to reduce high environmental degradation, and these ones by sharing innovations which are contributing to climate smart agriculture. Already, Victoria shared about how important climate smart agriculture is, and the innovations are there many, which are now carrying innovations from research centers in the Kinaro, taking them to the farmers through innovative ways. Victoria already shared about videos, content which is understood by the farmers. We know innovations run by younger people like Farm in Arua. We know innovations run by younger people in Malawi, like Kurimamari app. All these innovations are helping to tap. But for the future to be better, there is a need to further empower the younger people, the younger innovators as well, to see that they contribute to sustainable food systems. Because not all innovations contribute to sustainable food systems. There's a need to tap on those ones which are addressing the 3 core compartments of a sustainable food system. These ones including contributing to a positive economic impact, contributing to positive social impact, contributing to positive environmental impact. I can give an example of like AgriShare. AgriShare contributes to economic impact because, of course, we generate income. The people who own equipment generate an income. The farmers generate more income. But as well, on their side, we contribute to social impact because we create jobs. We empower the women who are the majority, who didn't access expensive land to be able to access it at affordable prices by renting. We empower the youth who didn't buy the land and now are able to rent it at affordable prices. But as well, still AgriShare contributes to positive environmental impact through hiring out irrigation pumps. Most of these are also solar irrigation pumps. That one means climate smart technologies are taken to the farmers now in an affordable way. So yes, in summary, I see the present, we have the challenges. I see the future, these challenges being solved, but with a core link being solved by the youth. Back to you, Charles. Thank you. Charles, back to you.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Paul, for that elaboration on innovations. Just the last one for you, Paul. With all these innovations happening in the country and in Africa as a continent, are our governments doing well in promotion and supporting of these innovations of the young people?
That's a trick one. We have, thank you so much, Charles. So we have 54 countries in Africa. Those are 54 governments. So are they addressing, are they supporting agricultural innovations? The answer is in between. Some are doing something, some are still reluctant, some are in between doing something, but with less impact. We can go and see some 3 major ways other countries are contributing to supporting agricultural innovations. And maybe those who are not contributing can take up lessons and learn. One of the ways is the positive regulations. We already know that a positive regulation is key and core for any innovation to scale up. But also sometimes to pilot. Just to start and pilot and test something, it needs a conducive environment. And this one's conducive policy environment. And this one includes policy regulations when are favorable, not those ones which are fighting the agricultural innovations. We know, for example, in Tunisia, they already included an act for startups focusing on agricultural innovations as well, to see that the environment, the political environment, the policy environment in the country in Tunisia is not creating barriers, but rather solving those barriers. So yes, one way is other countries which are not contributing a positive regulations should learn from that. I know for Uganda, there are steps being taken, but still low to reach that level. Then also another way is through funding and facilitation. We have seen governments now going hands-on to see that the agricultural innovation succeed. And this is very critical because with facilitation and funding, then agricultural innovations can get an opportunity not only to be tested, but as well to scale up and be impactful for the farmers who very much need them. You can wonder, most of how many innovations are in Uganda, how many innovations are in Africa in general, which are lacking just simple facilitation, which are lacking just simple support, funding support for them to become a game changer. And we know countries which are contributing also funding and facilitation. For example, Egypt. Egypt is among the top big four countries where agricultural innovation is really high, but also innovations in general or digital innovations. It launched an incubator to see that innovations can be incubated and supported to test it before going outside there to scale up. We also know like South Africa initiated special funds to support agricultural innovations. Nigeria is already rolling up many hubs, agricultural hubs, to empower the farmers. We know like Rwanda, the way they are removing bureaucracies, they are putting infrastructures to see that agricultural innovations can be tested and as well be scaled up. Like for example, Rwanda is usually called the kitchen for testing. They are trying out things because of that conducive environment, but as well the support. In Uganda, yes, there have been some funding support some years back for agricultural innovations, and those ones which were selected and they got funding, they were also able to test and as well to contribute to positive impact in the agricultural sector in Uganda. But the third way, which is very critical, is how the way the government becoming customers. We know the 54 governments in Africa can build creative market for agricultural innovations. Just imagine an innovator there for solar irrigation innovation, maybe in Uganda, maybe in Kenya, maybe in Malawi. But is struggling with the customers, yet the government is there procuring solar irrigation pumps, maybe importing them from China, importing them from Europe, and leaving this innovator by not buying from him or her. We know the challenges which can be associated with it. Of course, some innovators also sometimes they lack the requirement documentation, but these innovators can be supported to see that they can be contributing to the procurement lines for the government. So, and for example, the key successful stories in Africa include like Nigeria's Space Pointer, which is as well collecting the taxes in the agriculture sector for the government of Nigeria. That's in Edo State. But as well, there is also Ethiopia's Ahadoleke, which is helping to develop 20 apps for the government of that's in the government of Ethiopia. And this way of the government directly buying from the innovators contributes and highly contributes to the success of the agricultural innovations. So yes, in summary, there are those three ways: positive regulations, funding and facilitation, but as well becoming customers. And if those governments, among the 54, those governments which are not taking these steps, not implementing this, then they can take the lessons from other countries, and then we shall be able to see and celebrate that in Africa, the governments are fully supporting agricultural innovation. Thank you. Back to you, Charles.
Wow. Thank you so much, Paul. So you're saying funding is still an issue, and then creation of innovation hubs. Those are things that the government needs to work on. We really appreciate, and yes, we hope governments can actually buy in and learn from the other countries that are doing well when it comes to supporting the innovations of these young people. Thank you so much, Paul. Moving to Simon Peter Okoth. You realize there's a very huge relationship between agriculture, then the environment, and how, and with the recent climatic conditions that Africa is facing, there's a lot that is happening, and our food systems are getting hampered. So there's a decline in food production. We're seeing floods and everything related to climate. What can you kindly elaborate, give us an elaboration of how agriculture is related to the environment and the climate situation?
Thank you, Charles. Good evening once again. I think it's evening or nearly evening. My name is Simon Peter Okoth, as Charles has said, and I work with Tree Adoption Uganda. First, I'll briefly relate environment and climate and food production. One, sometimes people do not understand what causes climate change. I'll go briefly through some of them. One, sometimes we don't want to talk about them, but we want to talk about them. One, there is burning of fossil fuels that disrupt ecosystem. Two, there is deforestation. Three, things like poor farming methods. Four, we have things like destruction of wetlands. We have use of plastics. We have all these things affect our environment in one way or another, right? Now, let's look at it. When there is climate change, we have things that indicate, or the indicators. We start having things like changing weather patterns. Rainy season they are not predictable. You start having increase in temperature or rising temperature levels. You start having a lot of heat. Now, all these, for example, changing weather patterns, if you're a farmer, you are no longer able to predict when to plant. So you can plant, and then your crops they don't germinate, the seeds don't germinate, they will die. So what happens if they die? There is food insecurity. There is famine. Some people do farming to get money. Now, if you cannot predict the season, or if your crops or if your seeds are affected by these weather patterns, you're not going to have what to sell. You're not going to have what to eat. So what comes there? There is poverty. Apart from poverty, you're not going to have enough to eat, you and your family. What does it mean? Your health is going to be affected. Now, if your health is affected, you are not able to do other things. So it's a cycle, right? It's a cycle. Now, what are the things leading to this climate change and how it affects production? I already said there is burning of fossil fuel, there is deforestation, there is even a lack of knowledge about climate change. We are doing so many other things ignorantly when we don't know. The other time, I told you I plant trees. The other time I went to one of the villages to plant trees, and people were talking about changes in weather patterns. They can no longer predict. They want to plant, it's still shining. They want to harvest, it's still raining. And they are wondering, what is it? And some of them told me, the thing is, the gods are not happy. They need sacrifice. So you can believe, you can see the knowledge gap that still exists between the reality and what people are doing. Most people are not aware of what is taking place. So they need education. They need this information. We need to tell them that this human activity, what we are doing, is what is leading to climate change, and not appeasing the gods by sacrificing animals. See? So we need to educate people a lot about this. There is a big gap that exists between reality and what people think it is, right? We need more research and innovation. We have been talking about research and innovation. Yes, it is true. We need things like irrigation systems and technology. We need to harvest water and practices that enhance soil water retention. We have to avoid use of fossil fuels if you must travel, right? Maybe that's when you can. But if there are short distances that you can walk, if you can ride a bicycle, right? These are things that are doable. We need to reduce on the use of plastics. If you're going, for example, to buy soda in a nearby shop, why can't you go with your own maybe glass or your own bottle, so that you don't, bring more plastic in the community? Because if you don't ask for that plastic soda, for example, they're not going to give it to you. And those who are producing will know their products are not moving well. These are things that are doable. Plant a tree. One of the reasons why we have climate change is mostly brought by burning of fossil fuels, but there are other things that we do that exacerbate it. For example, deforestation. When we're young, and it's true, we're taught in primary school that trees help to absorb that bad gases, the bad gases in the atmosphere that are released by burning of fossil fuels. You drive a vehicle, you have a factory, and you release a lot of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. What helps to remove that from the atmosphere? It is the trees. Now, if you cut down the trees, you are exacerbating the effects of climate change. Plant a tree. These are things that are easy to do. They are doable. They are doable. Plant a tree because they will absorb that bad gas, that carbon dioxide, that methane that is in the atmosphere, disrupting the ecosystem. These are things that are doable. We need to start doing them now. We do not need to wait for China, keep complaining China is doing this, China is doing that. We do not need to go to USA to wait. We do not need to wait for them. Let us act now. These are things that are doable. It starts with us. Recycling plastics. The other time I was in one of the places and people were using plastics to construct houses. They fill them with soil and then they build houses. Things like you are seeing somebody destroying wetland. Try to report. Segregate waste. I told you one of the things we are doing as to fight climate change or the impacts of climate change is use of waste to improve livelihoods. For example, Boise, that's an urban slum in Kampala. We have a waste management project there. So we are encouraging them to use waste, organic waste, to make briquettes. Now, when you make these briquettes, you are reducing on the demand for charcoal, which comes from these trees. You can use it for cooking, and you can also use it to sell to get some more household income. We can use eco-friendly farming methods. Sometimes people talk about negotiation. Fine, COP27 is coming. We can negotiate, but we should not forget the basics. It starts with us. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much, Simon Peter from Tree Adoption. There's a lot that Tree Adoption is doing. Just like when you are introducing the organization, you said you do the tree planting, then you do the mapping, and then you have to follow up for actual figures of the trees that have been planted. That's a good thing because just as you said, that people come out and say we planted 50,000 trees when actually they planted about 10,000, and of the 10,000, only about 5,000 are surviving. So what Tree Adoption is doing is a great thing of monitoring the trees and how they are doing. So this is to all the panelists. Governments are looking at empowering the young people, but there are still kind of some challenges that are happening. But in your perspective, in your country's perspectives, what are these things that governments are doing to promote youth involvement in agriculture? And what are the challenges that they are facing in this drive of involving young people in agriculture? I think I'll start with Paul Zake.
Thank you so much, Charles, again. And I'm Paul Zake, Store Managing Director of Africa-WFD. Yes, the government is trying to attract youth to get involved in agriculture, and as well, youth are facing many challenges in the agriculture sector. The challenge, the key challenge, the key challenge is that the problems and challenges youth face are not the one which are being addressed by the government or other actors in trying to attract youth into agriculture. Let's look at the 3 core challenges which are faced by youth in agriculture. Of course, there is fake and expensive agricultural inputs. In that now, for example, in Uganda, getting an original input, even if it's a pesticide or fertilizer, you celebrate. You even go back and tell every farmer that this time around I got a pesticide which worked. Then also another challenge is the fact that the taxes are high. In that, and the taxes are leading also or escalating the prices for agricultural inputs. For those agricultural business or young farmers or younger enterprises or agricultural enterprises which are operating formally, the taxes become a lot for them. That's a key challenge. Then another one is the fact that the youth who would be interested in agriculture are not getting affordable funding. The funding in Uganda is very expensive. the interest rates range from 15 to 20%. If the government subsidizes, sometimes they go to 12% to 20% still. But we are competing in the world where other countries, like in Europe, USA, people are getting the loans at 2% interest. So we are competing in a world which is not fair. And we face a scenario where now people better buy eggs, tomatoes, or oranges, which are imported, rather than buying from the local farmers. Because for the farmers outside or who are not in Uganda, it will be affordable for them to grow whether or to rear crops, to grow crops or rear animals. When Uganda it's expensive, and there the prices will be high, and then the markets will determine, okay, let's buy from imported commodities. Let's look at what the government is trying to solve. Of course, the government is developing policies. For example, in 2017, there was this national strategy for youth employment in agriculture, which was launched. Though the implementation is still a question, but it was launched. Then also the government is trying to incubate, for example, through Uganda Industrial Research Institute, URI, the younger farmers who can add value to agricultural commodities, they can be incubated, which is also good. But you see, does it match the core challenges for the younger farmers who want to be involved in agriculture? Then another one is the funding, which is usually available, is that it's either full of corruption or full of restrictions or full of bureaucracy, in that it's not available or accessible for the younger farmers. So in summary, yes, the government is doing something to attract the youth into agriculture through the process like a national strategy for youth employment in agriculture, through incubation, for example, Uganda Industrial Research Institute, which incubates younger people who are adding value to agricultural commodities, then also trying to provide funding. But there's that gap in matching the core needs of the youth in agriculture sector. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Paul, for that. I'll switch to Paul Asu from Ghana. How is the situation in Ghana in regard to government supporting the young people involved in agriculture?
All right. Sorry, guys. I have a lot of feedback, but I think that in the perspective of government supporting or government initiative supporting the young people, it has been massive in terms of government initiative when it comes to planting for food and job, and then the other initiative. For me, the youth perspective of the current government or building up on the existing government initiative has been so far very good. But what we needed most, and we must continue to do, is how do we place the innovation and the mechanization at the forefront of youth in the agriculture space? We cannot just be telling them, get involved in the space, get well, and then we cannot produce or we cannot give these young people the mechanization aspect of the agriculture, the technologies which are very affordable to the young people in that space. So for me, well, in the perspective, even though there's lack of harmony within the policy framework in the government sector, but I think that so far so good. A lot of people have been engaging, and the government also introduced, a couple of supporting funding initiatives for these young farmers. And it has been going on, but then we need to change the perspective from what you call the mindset from the school level or the curriculum level, so that at the end of the day, when we are growing and progressing up to the university level, we must be able to understand that agriculture is not just the backbone for us, but then is the lifestyle of every government and a successful government within the African continent. So that's my take on that. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Paul, for that. So you're calling for provision of cheap mechanization, and then technology to these young people so that they are able to take on and then improve their undertakings in the agriculture sector. Thank you so much. I'll switch now to let me send this to, let's start with you, Paul Latu from Ghana. You've seen what the world has gone through, especially Africa. The Ukraine-Russia war. Food systems have been impacted. You saw how prices of foodstuffs skyrocketed in just a few months of the starting of this war. Now, I just need to have an understanding and what you think that the young people what should the youth do to build food systems in Africa that will withstand shocks at the global level? Just like I've told you that the Russia-Ukraine war so much affected Africa. So what do we need to do to withstand all these shocks so that we're not hit so bad?
Yeah, I think first of all, one of the things, I mean, it have shocked all of us is about we as an African, we could not even believe in our food system. If we were able to believe in our food system by producing a quality of food, we are already producing the quality of food, but how do we benchmark some of those produce that we produce with what you call the Ukraine or Russia war export to us in Africa? If we have been able to benchmark and standardize some of those produce and believe that this is what we are doing, this is what we own, these are the food items we own, I mean, we may not have some of those shocks. Africa have the very adorable land. What are we waiting for? What we need, we must be able to prioritize. Government initiative and government within the Africa must be able to prioritize the youth movement. I mean, a lot of young people during the COVID time have produced a lot of technology when it comes to the food system. But how do we approach, how do this government or various government within the Africa approach with the quality of innovation that young people have done in the food system? For me, I mean, it's still persistent, but we must encourage our younger people, I mean, we, the youth, that it's time for us to work in harmony in producing a successful food item, and also by building what we call the collaboration and partnership. We cannot just be isolated as a country where we feel like myself alone, we have produced, Ghana have produced this, Ghana have produced this. We need that strong partnership between, I mean, the partnership and collaboration within the African countries, whereby we must take advantage of the ASFA Secretariat. But what? I mean, Nigeria have a lot of food, which they are even exporting, but Ghana doesn't have some. Why can we collaborate and partner where Nigeria can bring that food to us, rather than defending or putting all our burden within the Russian-Ukraine war? For me, I think that as a young people, this our generation, we must build upon a very good partnership. We must build upon a very good collaboration within ourselves, so that, I mean, when my produce reach maybe Luganda, I know that it's in the safer hands, and Luganda people are patronizing my good. If Luganda goods are in Ghana, I mean, we must be able to have that collaboration where the government policies are even efficiency for us, so that those partnerships and those initiatives within the African continent must be easy, where we are also talking about the trade system, the food system in the sustainable way. For me, the hard way for us, we must first of all prioritize we must first of all build on collaboration. We must first of all build on partnership as a young African to build a sustainable food system, so that we must henceforth we must avoid the Russia-Ukraine war in that shock toward the food system. Thank you very much.
Wow, Paul. Thank you so much. You've really broken down the entire thing. And because we had that excuse of the Russian war, but then how do we avoid such an occurrence? It may not be the last time that something like this is happening, but so we need to create ways, avenues of how we can avoid this. And so you're saying we need to empower the young people to build sustainable processes that will be able to support the food systems and empower Africa to be a food basket of the entire of the whole world. Thank you so much, Paul. I'll switch straight away to Kofi Kisiedu Achaye. He is the YPAD Africa coordinator, and he's going to give us a keynote address on the discussion of the day. You're welcome so much, Kofi.
Yes, thank you so much, Charles, and it's been a great discussion with you and the panelists. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I'm so honored to be connected with all of you here because we have a shared understanding and we have practically almost the same experience across Africa when it comes to our food systems. So thank you so much for connecting, and I'll just highlight a few things that I have noticed, and then I'll mention, I'll highlight a few things I have noticed in our engagement in the food system as youth, and I would also throw some light on the few things that we can do as youth to position ourselves to make a change in the sector. So one very basic thing that I've noticed is in our quest for jobs, we realize that there's this somewhat legitimate request for us young people to have a certain number of years of experience. And there are times when the discussion comes as to whether we are looking for that number of years of engagement in the sector, or we are actually looking for some particular experience. Now, this makes us also ponder over our fitness as young people to take up certain roles while we hope to contribute to sustainable food systems. So I would want us to ponder over these questions while I go on. But we also have to remember that our readiness as youth to contribute to the resilience of Africa's agriculture and food systems is crucial to food security. This is because it will go a long way to feed, like to make sure that 251 million people that we are saying are hungry across Africa would be food secure. This number I just mentioned represents the 31% of the world's hungry people, as mentioned by the FAO. And in the discussion of the food systems and food security, this is what we want to focus on as youth and as actors in the sector. The youth's contribution can revolutionize the sector and lead to stable incomes and well-paid jobs in the sector. And we are sure that this is what every young person needs while we are engaged on any job at all. We want profitability for what we are engaged in. And so in this vein, we as YPAD, we seek to commit to creative ways. We seek to commit to creative ways of empowering youth through the promotion and creation of job opportunities for for youth engagement in agriculture. And I would like to throw some light on, highlight a few of the things that we do to make sure we achieve all these. So YPAD seeks to address the challenges that youth face, and prominent among these ones are, no, I'm sorry, I've mixed myself up. So yes, while we seek to promote and create opportunities for youth in agriculture, we also seek to advocate for the youth's vision in the agricultural systems through the publications and public speaking engagements for policy inclusion, and then food system related working groups as well. We also enhance the capacity of youth who are agricultural leaders, like the youth that we have engaged with today in this forum. So through our international movement of 15,000 youth, YPAD is able to generate some intergenerational and cross-sectoral networks. And we have 6,000 of youth in Africa who are connected on this platform. Yes, so while collaborating with FARA, FARA is the Forum for Agricultural Research in Africa. While collaborating with FARA, YPAD, as a youth-led network, is able to equip young people with competencies to further their careers and support the transformation of the food systems through the building of their skills, skill building workshops, job fairs, and various competitions, as well as intergenerational mentorship. We realized that Paul mentioned that the youth need to be equipped before they will be able to get on board. So it is not simply about the invitation to get on board, but we need our competencies built, we need our abilities enhanced, so we'd be able to contribute. And this is what YPAD believes. And so we believe that the opportunities that we offer the youth today has a bearing on the quality of the future that we will eventually build. And that is the future at which we will no longer be youth. One thing I noticed is that I have a few gray hairs in my head. I think I have about 3, I've been counting, because I fear growing up, but it's something we may not be able to avoid, and it will come with its own challenges. But the challenges we would face in our professional, our stages as senior professionals would stem from the challenges that we have today as youth. And so the better we promote ourselves today, the better we would be in future. And so YPAD, Africa, and FARA have engaged youth in various forums, and we've been able to discover the challenges that youth are engaged in this sector. Many of these have been mentioned by our panelists on the session today, and some include the information deficits, access to resources that we need to build our businesses in the sector, access to markets, limited involvement in dialogues and decision-making for these challenges have been highlighted several times in various forums, but we believe that the youth, we youth ourselves, may also have a role to play in making these come to bear. We believe that as we tackle all these challenges, we, through our creativity, as Simon Peter mentioned, we would be able to also contribute to the 4 betters that the FAO sees as components of the approaches to building an ideal global agricultural food system. Yeah, so with the 4 betters, we know them as better production, better nutrition, better environment, better life. But I wouldn't want to focus too much on that. I would rather want to dwell on the prominent challenges that would keep us from achieving these 4 Bs, the 4 betters, yes. And the prominent one among them is the challenge of access to information, challenge of access to knowledge and education. And this we have been able to document through the FARA and YPAD's Continental Youth Workshop, which we organized recently. We've been able to gather from the youth that this is a challenge that stands out a lot, because in our challenge to access opportunities, in our challenge to access resources, in our challenge to access markets, it all depends on the information that we need. And so further, FARA has been able to, FARA and YPAD have been able to engage youth in including their voices and getting them captured and augmented in various policy engagements that are created on the national and continental levels. Yeah, within forums like the UN Food System Summit and the national agribusiness strategies, national youth and agribusiness strategies. And a typical example is the one that we see for YPAD Kenya. The network of youth have also served as a hub for mentoring other youth and then making us, holding each other up and helping us stand in the sector. In various times when we are seeing our challenges, we see them through the lenses of what the government should be doing, what we need others to be doing. But we believe that as youth, we can stand together and build each other up with the quest of building, in the quest of building sustainable food systems in Africa. And this is one thing that we would need to highlight among us in our discussions as what we do, what we youth ourselves can do to help us thrive in the system. So various forums like the YPAD cafes and various networking events have been the ways that our chapters are able to affect the lives of other young people and then hold each other's hand up while we move up. Yeah, these are various ways. And I'm excited to know that forums, or let me say organizations like FARA haven't left youth out. The FAO, many other organizations are helping build youth up. One typical example is the knowledge management arrangement that FARA has had in recent times. We have Charles on the forum, Paul, Achu, we have Victoria and quite a number of others who joined. Nesta is here too. Okay, Nesta hasn't had a chance yet, but we have been able to see how youth's capacity have been built as professionals who are equipped with skills to advance the knowledge management for agricultural development agenda in Africa. So we see that there's a lot of potential in the youth because these youth I have mentioned have been able to even come up with knowledge management strategies for their own institutions that they work with. They are actually KM champions, like Paul puts it. They have been able to put up strategies just like every professional would do. So they are professionals in their own right. So with these instances that I have highlighted, we see that youth themselves have been able to connect through the movement and find a space to thrive. So I try to throw light on all these examples because of the way I opened my submission, talking about the years of experience that is always requested of us when we are searching for jobs. Forums like this and then networks like YPAD serve as a way in which we can build our experiences apart from being on the job field. So it is great for us to connect ourselves with opportunities such as this, to position ourselves for our capacities to be built, for our competencies to be enhanced, that would be able to remain relevant in the sector. I decided to toe this line of speaking today because I have heard so many times of the question about what the youth bring to the table when we ask to be involved in the system. On one side, we see the youth asking, we want to be engaged, and on another side, we see that senior professionals are asking, legitimately, of course, what are the youth bringing to the table when we engage them? When we are able to seize very little opportunities to build ourselves up, we would be able to find ourselves worthy of certain positions that may exist in the sector for us. So it is left to us to affirm the answer to the question of what we bring to the table as youth. And the network of YPAD and other youth networks, other vibrant youth networks, just like YPAD, have shown that the youth actually bring the whole table, if you know what I mean. Because through the discussions we have had with the panelists today, I have noticed that, or I have actually affirmed that we present creativity, we present innovation, focused energy, and then the great potential that we have as youth. And as we have our capacities enhanced, as we as youth have our capacities enhanced, we will be well placed. We will be well placed to revolutionize the food systems. So this is by way of highlighting the roles of the youth, the role of the youth in building sustainable food systems. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your time and your attention. And I would like to wish everybody a happy Food Day. And I hope we all stand together. I urge all of us to stand together as youth, young professionals in agriculture, to contribute to ensuring that we have enough food in this our space to make sure that we're able to wish one another a happy World Food Day next year and so many other happy World Food Days. Thank you so much for connecting, and it's been great connecting with you.
Well, thank you so much, Kofi. So it's a very great elaboration you've given on to us. We really appreciate, and it's a lot we get to learn that YPAD is putting on the table, not just a small thing as people always ask, what are the youth bringing on the table? I've loved the way you're saying the youth actually bring everything onto the table. That's it's really a big response. We thank you so much, Kofi, and we thank you for the work you're doing with YPAD. It's really transforming youth and mindset on the continent, and I believe globally, because it's an international network. We really appreciate you for that, and thank you for wishing us the best of the World Food Day that is on Sunday. Yeah, in my culture, they say once the elder has spoken, that brings everything to the end. We really thank our panelists for this great deliberation and for every input that we've had from the audience on the chat. We really appreciate you so much. So I Also, would like to wish you the best of the World Food Day. And as Kofi has put it, let's work together to transform our food systems. Africa is here to feed us, but we have to help it to feed us. Thank you so much and have a great evening, a great afternoon, I think in the West Africa. We will keep in touch and let's meet again for the better of our African continent. My name was Charles. Goodbye.